Most people who are beginning the practice of medicine rather than being students of medicine have natural apprehension and a little bit of fear about starting a business. And often they avoid that whole process for some time doing locums and so on. But when it comes down to the crunch of starting your own family practice, you are actually starting a business. And you haven't been trained to do that. You've been trained to be a doctor who takes care of people and helps them when they're ill. And you need really to develop some skills and train to run a business, to learn how to hire staff, how to make an income, how to do things according to the rules of the road. It all makes sense. And of course, a person would be nervous and they'd be a little worried and they'd be excited too. A new physician, when they're starting to think about developing a practice, has to know themselves and they have to know what are the things that are important to them. Often there's a work-life balance issue. They want to be able to have time dedicated to work and time dedicated to their personal life and their family. They'll need to be in a community that is supportive and that needs their services, not in a flooded area that has perhaps too many doctors. They think about these realities, but perhaps they don't think about the realities of the business, which are that you need to see a certain volume of patients to make enough money to enjoy the work-life balance and to fund the lifestyle that you hope to achieve. So we're trying to inject perhaps some information into the decision-making process that will give them some balance to make good decisions that will address all their needs. To get off on the right foot in your practice, you really have to understand what group of people you're providing care for. Often you're being asked to come into an underserviced area where there's a huge need for physicians, and everybody wants you to be their doctor. So the practice can grow, but set limits at the beginning so that you can get a little control around that piece. The second piece you need to get organized is how will you run your practice, because it is a business, and so you need to develop policies within your own head about how you will run your practice, how many patients you'll see a day, how long will each patient be seen, how will you sort out who gets seen first, what will you do in emergencies, what will you do if things run late. There are all kinds of practice situations that you've witnessed as a resident, but you haven't really had to deal with them as the final arbiter, as the person who makes the decisions. Once it's your own practice, there is no resident preceptor to guide you. You have to come up with your own philosophy about how it is that you're going to run this business. There are a wide variety of practice options that physicians can choose from. Some people choose to be solo practitioners and they're their own boss and they hire their own staff and are totally in charge of their practice. More often people are in collaborative practices. They are joining in one sort or another with other physicians, perhaps other physicians plus nurse practitioners or other healthcare professionals. So it's important up front to understand, if you're going in with a group, what are their policies? Can you be comfortable with them? And if so, are they going to change without you being informed, or is it collaborative truly? Often a lawyer will give you some advice, and you can have a contract that may be offered by that group, vetted by your lawyer, just to be protective and to be clear that everyone understands what the rules are.